Hello everybody, I'm Kelly Williams. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is going to be quick, short. It's about the Achilles heel of the military lantern, and that would be the pickup tube assembly that's in the font. This is hands down one of the most overlooked components when people rebuild or refurbish a military lantern. It doesn't matter who made it or what year it is. That they overlook, and then they fight and fight and fight trying to figure out what's going on, because the pickup tube in the military lanterns is not like everything else. It's based on a 220B, requires a 3/8 wrench. I've already loosened, this is an NOS one, I've already taken it apart, make it easy for the video. But you unthread it out, it's just like any other fuel pickup tube assembly. It has your metering rod and your spring, which you don't want to forget to put back in. Not that I've ever done that this year. Then it has 4 components. You have a top nut, you have a bottom nut, and this is your outside tube. This thing comes apart. This bottom piece threads off. It's a 5/16. Normally what I do, use a 3/8 socket wrench to hold that, and a 5/16 ratchet wrench. Pop loose whichever one comes loose. You thread this off. It has your hole there for your metering rod. Now if you look up in there, there's an inside tube. This threads off of the top nut. As you can see here, it's threaded and shouldered. The top of this tube shoulders against here. You want to make certain that those 2 air holes are clean and clear. You want to run a brush up inside this tube. Make sure it's good and clear. So the next thing you want to do is, you usually use a pair of pliers. You can, if you scar it up a little bit, it's not that big of a deal. You thread this tube out of the bottom of the nut. Now this is tapered. You do not use thread sealer on this component. There's 2 very vital pieces to this. One of the most important is this channel right here that runs up and down the length of that tube. You want to make certain that it is clean, clear, super clean, and you want to make certain that the inside is very clean. I've had to literally cook these suckers to get them clean before, but it is imperative that they are clean inside and out, because what you have is just like a normal pickup. Your air comes in your top hole. It comes down between the wall of these 2, but it uses that slit and the space around it, but there's really not much clearance. You're mainly relying on this slit. The air comes down this slit, then it comes into the bottom, and that's where it picks up the fuel, and that fuel goes up the center of that tube. Now, if the center of this tube is restricted, you're not getting enough air-fuel mixture up through the valve assembly to even to combust. Or the other thing is, you're getting plenty of liquid fuel, but you're not getting enough volume. You're not getting enough air to go with it, so you're just it just sits and constantly flames. 90% of the time when someone brings me a lantern that has a military lantern that has at least some knowledge with them, 90% of the time it's the pickup tube. People just overlook it, or they don't get it clean enough. You have to make certain that they're clean inside and out. This is tapered, and I'm going to say this one more time. You do not use any type of sealant on this. The inside is threaded. You thread it back in. I normally get a small pair of pliers and give it a tug. It does not have to be He-Man tight. Now, from experience, I've learned that you want to make certain that this is loose or off, because they're not all made exactly the same. This is a Coleman, NOS Coleman. You want to thread your housing your outside tube up on there, again with your wrench and a pair of pliers, give it a snug. You want to make certain that your inside tube definitely is not protruding down to the point of bottoming out in this cap. The other thing is, and SMP was horrible about this, their machining standards were far less than be desired. You could bottom this out to the point of blocking off anything from the center because of the way they machine them. It's really ridiculous, and it'll really get you pissed off if you spend a good deal of time trying to diagnose one. But anyway, you thread that up on there, take your wrenches, you give it a snug. You always want to make sure you give your little metering rod a stretch. This one's new, so it doesn't need it. But, put it back in just like any other lantern, and then it goes back into your valve assembly. And that right there will take care of a large majority of the problems you might have with a military lantern. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Any comments or suggestions, please let me know. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next one.